Anyway, should we start off with a look at Series 5 and 6?
Okay,
yes.
Why not?
So here's some thoughts from Planet Morris. Here's some thoughts from Planet
Morris
Mondas.
Forum.
Yeah, Planet Morris. Hey, calm down. Here's some thoughts from Planet Mondas Forum on Stephen Moffat, Series 5 and 6. Ian Kay said, well, the first series was good, and Matt Smith was good to start with, and Karen was great, and beyond that, I'm out. Chap with Wings didn't quite agree. He said casting Matt Smith is where it all went wrong.
Oh,
really?
Liz R said that she thought the self-indulgence began to kick in around the middle of the second Moff series with Let's Kill Hitler.
Yeah, bit late that.
Yeah, Hecky Poo said it went downhill from the Impossible Astronaut onwards, and self-indulgence became the order of the day.
Yeah.
The Ginger Cat said it went wrong for him when Matt Smith began farting about with the fez on his head.
Oh, we are perfectly aligned, the Ginger Cat and I.
Mr. Barusa said that the problem was complicated scripts, and sometimes it would need several viewings to work out what was going on.
Yeah.
Zarius said he thought it was noticeable with Victory of the Daleks, a Gatiss story. Although, interestingly, Zarius actually enjoyed Let's Kill Hitler. Fair enough. And Torchwood said, add me to the list of people who say the Big Bang is where it all went wrong. He spent an entire season building up an arc to a huge climax in the penultimate episode for it to be a huge cop-out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there seems to be an unspoken agreement there, and I don't know if we share that agreement, that Series 5 was pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So thoughts on Series 5?
Look, overall, I think it's pretty good. It starts off, certainly the 11th hour starts off pretty well, actually. It sort of doesn't finish that great, and I thought that Olivia Colman was sort of wasted in the role in that episode. But I thought that, the introduction, and particularly, and the thing that I really loved about it was the character of Amelia Pond, who I thought was an absolute delight every time she appeared.
She was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. It was pretty good, and I thought, this looks okay actually when I first watched it, and I thought, this could be okay, because of course we're all full of hope at that time. Because Moffat had taken over and he'd written all those, probably some of the best stories of the RTD era. And then, it was patchy in places. Victory of the Daleks was awful, and the Daleks looked terrible. And, I sort of didn't go for Vincent and the Doctor all that much either, because I have this thing about Richard Curtis these days. He just sort of writes all this schmaltzy, sort of mawkish stuff. No, the rest of the series is pretty good.
They could have called that one 4 Paintings and a Suicide, I suppose.
Yeah. And, I guess the other highlight of the whole series was, apart from the crack in the wall, was Rory dying every 5 seconds, which seems to be a bit of a theme throughout the Moffat era about dying. But Rory dies in practically every episode, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not quite that bad, but it's close to it. You're going to get me going if you start talking about the dying too much. I get really frustrated in that. I don't think it's necessary that they keep that anyone has to die in these episodes. But if they're going to die, then I wish they would actually die and not be brought back. I mean, that's just unrealistic. So you have all the emotional impact of the death, and then next week they're back, so you can have all the emotional impact again. Except, of course, you can't.
Okay, then, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm funnily enough, I'm not sure that I liked it as much as you two. In that I've given it the lowest score out of all of them, and I mean, basically because I found it a bit uneven.
It was uneven, yeah.
So I really loved the Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. Time of Angels and a bit of Flesh and Stone, to be accurate. And then I don't know. I found the rest of it quite uneven. I hated Victory of the Daleks. Thought the Beast Below was uninspired. 11th Hour, as you said, really good at the start, really poor at the end, I thought. Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, a bit kind of, I've seen it all before.
Yeah.
It's funny with, I've been thinking about that Silurian two-parter, because I think last time we talked about it, I think we all agreed it was obviously a clone of the Silurians. But it's done so much worse, with so much more money. So the scale of it, to me, lets it down. in that you've got this one family in this Welsh town or valley or whatever where they're drilling. But it is just a very compact cast of 5 or 6 characters. When they do it in the Silurians on a shoestring, they've got the army in there. They've got this entire feeling of a research centre where it's all going on. And then they open it out to London, and there's a very genuine sense of threat that this disease is carrying around the capital, with a little bit of location filming of old, what's-his-face?
Jeffrey Palmer. Fantastic,
Jeffrey Palmer. Euston Station or wherever it is, and then collapsing against the railways. And I thought that was a real contrast in storytelling and confidence and suspension of disbelief that they achieve so much more in the Silurians. Anyway, sorry, I've interrupted.
I was just going to talk about Amy's Choice. I thought that was an interesting one because, I mean, at least it tried to tell a different story, and it was kind of only partially successful, but at least it was an interesting.
And also, the Lodger was something different too.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm going to be very positive about the Moffat era for the first year. I thought the intro was great. I thought it was really humorous and pacey, and I thought Matt Smith was brilliant, and I liked the ending, and it was contained. I wasn't really keen on The Beast Below. I've never been fond of it. I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the design. Victory of the Daleks has the first appearance of Love Saves the Day. We'll get used to that.
Yeah. It's just shocking in every way. Really.
I thought it was quite intriguing. The first half, the Power of the Daleks rerun, I thought that was good.
So I've said, I agree with you. Promising start, but it just all gives way.
Time of Angels, Flesh and Stone. I've given thoughts on that before. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it's I really don't like River Song, which is a problem for me with this era, obviously. And then I really like The Vampires of Venice. I thought that was just a classic format, self-contained
I quite
adventure.
like that.
I thought it was really good, nice setting, and that's followed on from Amy's Choice, which is different. I think is that Simon Nye's only credit? It might be, but I wish he'd have done more.
Yes, I agree.
But some really good 2 episodes there where I felt it was really getting traction. And then the Silurian 2-parter, we've talked about Vincent and the Doctor, which I thought was fine. It was doing something different. It was trying to broaden the audience. Which is odd, because trying to broaden the audience in one episode, and then he seems to spend the next 5 years trying to narrow the audience. And then I watched the Pandorica Opens and walked away thinking, wow, I thought that was great. I know you two think that all the monsters turning up at the end was silly.
No, I thought the Pandorica Opens was pretty good, but
I didn't think it was pretty good. I thought it was brilliant. And then what a long way to fall. Bloody hell. That he was written off, and then, unfortunately, a complete load of guff.
I was going to say I was really quite excited about the conclusion to the series because there'd been all these things, dropped through it. There was the crack. There's the exploding TARDIS. It kind of felt like there was going to be some brilliant explanation, and I mean, maybe there is, and I'm too daft to work it out. But I always felt like it kind of fell away to nothing. And in the end, Amy ends up wishing the Doctor back into existence. And I thought, is that it?
And then Rory goes, "Oh, the Doctor! How can we forget about the Doctor?" And it's like,
is Rory an Auton or isn't he? I mean, it's all just a bit kind of.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah. We had the first abuse of time in that one. I've got this thing where he's very careless of time passing, and so he can just throw any number of thousands, millions of years into a storyline to try and give it some sort of false perspective or something, and that's the first time he does it, where Rory has stood guard for 4,000 years or whatever it is, and I just think, you just can't associate yourself with the character at that point, because you've never had to do anything like that. You'd probably go mad. Plus, we don't know whether he's an Auton or a human. And it just takes me completely out of it when he does that, and he does it a few times, and I'll point them out later on. And then it's just a bonkers story. I can imagine Moffat being very smug. He's sort of daring you to try and follow the twists and turns of the timey-wimey thing, and it's just not. I mean, I'm with Mr. Brewster on this. I think it's too complex. Oh yeah, what a letdown.